Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Joe Show. I'm your host, Daniela, and to my right, we have Joseph Hastings, and to my left, Franco. Today, we will be discussing issues with the NBA's officiating and the possible repercussions from the result of this year's NBA Finals. But of course, we're going to start things off with Game 7 of the NBA Finals. The Cavaliers have forced a Game 7 after coming back from a 3-1 deficit against the reigning NBA champions and have the chance to make history. The Warriors and Cavaliers will square off in the deciding game in Oakland this Sunday. Gentlemen, who do you got?
Well, thank you, Daniela. Thank you, Franco. I'm going to roll with the 73-9 Golden State Warriors, and I'll tell you why. The Golden State Warriors this year have put on an absolute show. They have been a great machine working together. They've been connected as a team, as a group, as a unit. Stephen Curry has gone off, averaging 30 points per game in this year's season. And I think although he struggled this year in the NBA Finals, he did put up 38 in Game 4. He put up 30 last game where he was dealing with foul trouble. I think Stephen Curry's going to show up. He's going to have a monster game. You can book that. As he was being ejected for throwing the mouthpiece in Game 6 of the Finals, he pointed at LeBron and he said, I'm coming, and I'm going to be getting you. And that's what the mindset is going to be of the Golden State Warriors. They know the feeling that the Oklahoma City Thunder had when they gave up a 3-1 series lead in the Western Conference Finals of this year. They don't want to feel that pain after going 73-9. They've already won the most collective wins in NBA Finals history, surpassing the 96 Bulls. They're going to have to put on a show in order to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers squad, which, to their credit, LeBron James has also put on a show for us as a fan base. 41 points in back-to-back games, 16 rebounds in Game 5. I mean, this man absolutely went off, and, they're going to have support from shooters like J.R. Smith. They're going to have Kevin Love step up. I don't know if those role supporters will be able to step up in a decisive Game 7 at the Oracle. If this would have been at Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland for Game 7, I would book it that Cleveland would win based on the role that they've had. But since it's going to be at Golden State, I'm going to roll with the Warriors, and they're going to win the championship for back-to-back time.
Mr. Hastings, everything in my mind tells you that you should be right. They won a record number of games, never lost back-to-back games in this season so far. They have the reigning two-time league MVP, the first ever unanimous MVP. But just by my gut feeling, I have to say the Cleveland Cavaliers will roll the Golden State Warriors in this Game 7 and take home the chip. And that's for a couple of reasons. Number one, Steph Curry has not been himself in these finals. Sure, you could talk about his scoring, but he is the point guard of the Golden State Warriors, and he has more turnovers than assists. That's absolutely an abomination. That cannot be allowed to continue. Also, Andre Iguodala is still kind of stiff with his back, so we don't know if he's going to be 100%, and you absolutely need him at, if not 100, at least close to it, to win a Game 7, and I'm not sure if they'll have that. Also, you look at Harrison Barnes. I mean, my God. Steph Curry was more accurate throwing his mouthpiece than this man has been in the past 2 games. He forgot how to play basketball. It's terrible. I don't know what happened to him, but if he doesn't show up, and Klay Thompson, he's been on and off, inconsistent. He's had some stretches where he goes off, even in certain games. Some games in a certain quarter, he'll go off. Other times, he'll just be completely ice cold. So those are variables that I can't exactly count to go in Golden State's favor, especially after losing back-to-back games, and both of them decided by a margin of 10 or more points. And then the main reason why I'm rolling with the Cavaliers, LeBron James is balling. 41 points in back-to-back elimination games. And don't forget Uncle Drew either. Kyrie Irving has shown up in this series. He has proved, without a doubt, I think, that he is one of the top 5 point guards in this league. And if they continue to get that same amount of production, and just, I guess even if JR slightly shows up, they don't even need Kevin Love at this point. Kevin Love was completely irrelevant for the past 2 games, and they still beat the Warriors. So they need a minor contribution, some solid minutes from JR, and some solid minutes from Tristan Thompson also. You got to mention him. He's been balling on the backboards. He's eating the glass. So they just need contributions from Tristan Thompson, and he's absolutely dominated in that department. And I think they should be able to win Game 7.
Now I'm going to tell you for one reason why you're missing the point on this. Role players. That's going to be the biggest issue. In my opinion, I know what Steph Curry's going to do. I know what Klay Thompson's going to do. On the other side of the ball, I know what LeBron and Kyrie's going to do. What is the Kevin Loves of the world going to do? What are the J.R. Smiths on the road in a decisive Game 7? That's why I think Steve Kerr has made an absolute egregious mistake in this year's finals. I don't think he's utilized Maurice Spates enough to space the floor. I think he's overused Anderson Varejao, and I think that they need to put in Barbosa more. I think he's been very productive off the bench. He's been able to give them over 50% shooting from the field, and he's going to be able to be someone who steps up in a Game 7 at the Oracle, a Sean Livingston. They're going to feed off the crowd. Role players have a tough time going on the road and being able to feed off of the crowd like that. Like a Sean Livingston put up 20 points in the first game of these finals. Remember, Draymond Green, who some people say is kind of like next to Klay Thompson and Steph Curry in terms of point production, put up 28 points on 5 of 8 from the three-point line in Game 2 of these finals. These players can step up. And you know this and I know this. If Draymond Green played Game 5 of the NBA Finals, we would not be here right now. We would move on to NBA free agency and the draft because the series would have been over. But that's a topic for later in this discussion. Either way, what I'm trying to say, I think role players are going to play a huge part. Look for bench production, how much players Tyronn Lue and Steve Kerr utilizes off the bench, and how effective they'll be. That's where it's going to win. And whoever wins the rebounding battle in this Game 7 is going to win the finals, in my opinion.
Okay, well, I'm glad you mentioned the rebounding battle because Andrew Bogut, he's out, he's done. And he's mainly their rebounding and their defensive presence while he's patrolling the paint. And Tristan Thompson, like I said, is owning everybody on the Warriors squad with his effort on the backboards. And you also said earlier that you know what you're going to get from Klay and Steph. Klay, I could buy that. But Steph, do you really know in the finals? I don't mean to be sacrilegious, but this man has shown up for maybe 2 games. I'll give him 2 games that he's shown up with the 38-point performance and the 30-point performance. But other than that, he has been less than spectacular. I don't think that's at all egregious to say. So LeBron James, sure, he had a bad couple of games, but in the elimination games, and this is a pattern with LeBron. It's not like, oh, these are fluke games from him. We know that he's going to ball out in elimination games. And Kyrie Irving has also balled out in the past 2 games, so it appears to be something consistent with him too. And like we saw earlier, basically with that big 3 and no Kevin Love is not part of that anymore, the big 3 of Tristan Thompson, LeBron James, and Kyrie Irving has basically beaten the Warriors single-handedly in all 3 of their victories so far. So I see no reason why they still can't carry that same amount of effort and intensity into Game 7 and take home the chip.
Well, I guess we'll see tomorrow.
All right, man.
All right, gentlemen,
that.
that's all the time we have for right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. We're going to take a brief break, and we'll see you soon.